show, this episode is on energy medicine and the law of attraction. By the end of this show, you'll have a great understanding of energy medicine, the law of attraction, and how you can do it yourself at home. That is the intention of this show. In studio, oh my gosh, I've got two, three, four of the most delightful men on the planet. Two of which I get to go home with. Greg Larson and Tyler Larson.
Woo!
Yay!
Well, look at us. We're very handsome together, Tyler. Nice.
Ooh. So Tyler, you're on the Turkey League.
Well, it's not a turkey league. It was a thing after the actual league. They did it. It was kind of like a playoffs, only different teams.
For baseball, this
For
is.
baseball.
Baseball at Sherman Oaks Little League. Thank you, Sherman Oaks Little League.
And they called it the turkey tournament.
The Turkey Tournament.
And we gotta play. Well, you gotta play, like, at least you gotta play 4 games. But we played 3 games in one day. And
Wow.
this was like deciding like what our seed was going to be. Our seed means like where we're placed, how many games we have to play. So, and we lost all 3 of our games, but that doesn't really matter that much. And then the next day we get to go to, we kind of have the seed, like the placement, and we face off. And if you lose, you're out. So you have to keep going until the championship.
So you wanted to share a little bit about that
Well,
today.
our first game, we won 5-4. It was the bottom of the 5th. We were losing. It was 4-1, and then we got bases loaded and top of the order, no outs. And then a guy hit a double, which got 2 runs in, and then we got another one in, and there was 2 outs, a guy on third, and one of our blooper into the and
Nice.
we won
A
it.
walk-off single to win the game.
To
Yeah.
win the game.
was exciting,
So
yeah.
you've been experiencing miracles all day.
Yeah.
What do you want the listeners and the watchers, the ones that are watching, from that point? What point do you want to make with that, baby?
Never give up, because we were down by like 3 runs. It wasn't looking very good, and then
Never give up. You brought your energy. Everybody brought their energy to the game, and woohoo! You guys won.
and then in our second game we lost, unfortunately 7-4. But we started off very strong. We had there was a man on first and a man on
up and they shake it off. They shake off the trauma. Humans and a lot of domesticated animals now have been trained not to shake it off. They shake off the trauma. It's an extraordinary thing that whenever we release a spurt of cortisol or stress hormone, what winds up happening is we rip a little tear. Baby, if a little, they're still flexible in a car accident or something happens, it shows up that way. It's so extraordinary that we now have tools and technology and energy medicine that can say you have meridians, acupuncture, or you can put electricity in, or you can visualize, use your eye movement to create a different result. And so you were in the hospital, your fascia, all of this damage, PTSD diagnosis. What else? What other diagnoses
Well,
were there?
PTSD actually wasn't diagnosed at first.
It wasn't. Okay.
Everyone who looked at me, I looked like a power lifter. Like, that's what I used to do. I've been an athlete my whole life. I'm a professional camera operator in the local 600. I work with a lot of celebrities and TV shows. And, like to have your career halted, to deal with this, and to get 2 surgeries plus, and I was supposed to get a spinal fusion in my neck and my lower back. That's how much damage there was. So I have a 9mm dent in my spinal cord and 8mm ruptured bulges in my neck, and everything's bulging. But the more severe ones gave me more problems, like with my arms, with numbness in my hands, but they came back. So it's a blessing right there. Plus, I work with my hands for a living. That's what I love to do. I love to create, and to be without them is awful. So I mean, for it to be back is absolutely incredible. The other damage too, you mentioned internal organs. My upper abdominals ripped, but they repaired themselves within a matter of weeks, which is, I have the sonograms from it. I forgot to bring it, but to see what your body can repair, but it can't actually get rid of the scar tissue. So if you have a disconnect within your neurosystem, like your neurons aren't firing because they're being blocked by scar tissue, you got to remove it. And that's where the electricity comes in, and the acupuncture, and also the energy healing. The 3 points that felt like knives, like rusty hot steak knives, like stuck in my neck, Charlie removed them in a matter of minutes, and it was incredible. There's no feeling like it. It was.
You're going from stabbing pain.
Oh yeah.
To not a full range of movement.
Yeah, I couldn't.
To having movement, to having it realized your body's functioning again. What's extraordinary is that's what energy medicine does. It takes what was trauma, because everything breaks down to energy. Everything is energy. There's different types of energy in our environment. And the biggest energy within our body, the biggest energy conductor, creator, is our heart. And when you trust and when you love and when you believe someone can heal you, you're giving part of your energy circuitry to that person to be able to come in and shift and move things. And you've shared some extraordinary skill sets and you shared that after all of the accidents, all of the things, when you started coming back online, you knew your dad was in pain. And so not only did you start a nonprofit, you were also started building a smart chair and a smart massaging chair so your dad could experience some of the electrical charges.
Yes. Actually, it's full shiatsu. It has infrared heat and vibration. And my dad was hit by a car on his mountain bike, I think about 7 years ago, got pitched into a ditch. Bike was broken, and his shoulder came out completely, separated, AC joint, multiple tears in the rotator cuff. So he said it himself because he's a war veteran, and that's what you do. Yeah. And he's very tough. He's one of the strongest people you'll ever meet. Both my parents, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he called my mom. Mom picked him up, and I don't really think he did much physical therapy on it, but it got worse with time. Part of that's the scar tissue, and it looked really sunk. So when I saw him for the holidays, I was like, Dad, you really got to get your shoulder looked at. It's way lower, and it's probably bothering you. So I put him on some rotator cuff exercise. I'm like, you're going to have to go to physical therapy for a while. It's like you just working it at home isn't necessarily enough. You need someone else to break up the scar tissue and get some good physical therapy, some acupuncture, some energy healing. And I could tell just by, like, I would do self-analysis. I could see my dad. We have similar genetics, obviously.
Yeah.
So, and Mom got a new hip, and she was walking without a walker in like 2 weeks. So thankful for my genetics, absolutely.
That's so beautiful. And I know, so my son got hit on the field, and he had an amazing, I did all the energy healing on him.
Dislocated my collarbone right here.
Oh, man. That's
Yeah.
what my dad did.
And we did castor oil packs and simply energy healing.
Wow.
And what would have taken 6 weeks to 6 months in a cast to repair, would you say he really wanted to go back to the baseball? He didn't want to let his team down?
No, it was right then. It was basketball, and then
basketball. We were in basketball all-stars.
Right then.
All-stars. And this is, as a mom and as an energy healer, someone who's trained in med school, all resources available to us. I didn't want a doctor to stand over my son and say, a diagnosis of some sort. Within what should have taken 6 weeks to 6 months, he was back on the field in 2 weeks. What was it like before, baby?
What do you mean?
When you got hurt.
Oh, it was really weird because, like, I could move my arm like this, but if I, like, moved it across my body, it, like, my, like, chest plate or something would, like, stop it. It was really weird.
And miracle makers, you at home, it's really important to work with great doctors and great people that understand energy and understand money. That much of medicine today is all about the money. And when you understand and find a healer, a doctor, a reverend that really knows energy, a doctor that knows energy, a reverend that knows energy, or a healer that knows energy, and you can witness the way that they show up in their life, it's not about money. It winds up being, when you believe in them, when you give them privilege over the energy space in your body, what happens for you is your body believes and shifts. We had the most extraordinary experience with Greg's mom. She was in the hospital and basically declared, I was here in California. Your mom was in Minnesota, and I was going back and forth. And we got a group of us together, did energy work on her. She came back to having conversations, in 2 more weeks, whereas the doctors around her had said, oh my gosh, 6 hours or less, any second now, get everything in order. And it was when they spoke, I'd left town and came back to California. And when they spoke again over her, there was some energy of her energy body was convinced that was it. With my own mom and kidney stones, again, all of it comes back to energy. And miracle makers, there are great doctors, great reverends, great resources that are not just pop a pill or do this that will help you heal. What some of will help you be able to fully realize And the first step is to really take full responsibility for everything that's happened to you. That's one of the first things. The second thing, to really understand energy medicine and to have control over your body, is to really to give and surrender your body over to source, to something greater than yourself. And then to begin, when it's surrendered to source, when it's surrendered to the universe, you will begin attracting into your life exactly what you need for the healing. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Certainly. I've been really fortunate to meet a lot of great healers. Charlie was probably one of the more powerful and influential ones that people have seen on television. But there are a lot of other great ones who do Reiki. We have a mutual friend, Wendy, who's like the animal whisperer. She does Reiki on animals that have like PTSD and other things, have been abused, and it's pretty incredible. So it's something that probably all living beings respond to. We all have protective mechanisms.
All of that. And energy is, how do you experience energy? How do you see energy? And I'd love for all four of us to answer this. How do you experience energy?
Well, we're all conductors. We're 70% water, and every reaction within our brain is electrical, and our spine controls everything else. So when I had neurological disconnects, I actually got acupuncture that went into the nerves, and we put electricity through it, and it woke up those nerves. Also, ARP wave neurotherapy does that, and if people like Charlie have the power of healing with their hands, it's removing that trauma. It's actually pulling it from the fascia, and you'll, for lack of a better term, you'll have a flashback of that experience, and you'll feel it leaving your body. It's an amazing feeling. Suddenly it gets warm, and it gets really cold, and it just leaves you. It's absolutely amazing.
That's extraordinary.
Yes.
And you get the lesson that you were meant to get from the experience, or the growth is another way to say lesson. You get the growth, and then the conduction goes back in. Tyler, how do you experience energy, baby?
Well, pretty much it's like, how I experience energy is kind of like a boost. It could be like you're on the field, and then like you're kind of like drowsy. You maybe had to wake up super early for the game or something, and then like you have energy as like a boost. It's like the thing. And I can also see how like sometimes like in the first game of today, when I saw when like he got the base hit and the runner came home from third, I saw like the other team's energy just kind of drop. It was like they're all ready, and then it kind of just fell. It was like.
Thank you, Tyler. Baby, how do you experience energy?
What I was thinking as you asked that question was, I know when we meditate and we're listening to guided visualization, and then, I'm experiencing things that are in my mind, that I'm experiences that I want to manifest, but it's the feeling that I want to manifest. And when I connect with that deeply, my whole body is lit up with energy. It's like my cells respond to that.
It's so beautiful. Thank you.
And I also use that meditation to heal.
Yes.
So the different things I've needed to heal, I focus on, a visualization of that part of me healing. And then when I'm really succinct with that, I get that charge of energy too.
It's and so that's beautiful. And in med school, I didn't know that everyone didn't see energy, and I didn't realize people didn't have that possibility. And so for me, energy is experienced in my body. I experience it as with my hands, but sometimes it's removing trauma. Sometimes it's adding energy, like an electrical current, like an electrical shock. People that have worked with me have regrown lungs, literally removed and released cancers. The electrical charge, it's an extraordinary thing, from trauma, from being irreverent, from having the sight. And if you are at home, miracle makers, and you want to use the law of attraction to heal yourself, what you focus on with your mind's eye is feeling the wellness, your well-being in all of your senses. You feel what it tastes like to be able to be fully mobile, what it tastes like to have every part of your body functioning. This is what we did with Tyler with his mind's eye. We talked about what it felt like, what it tasted like, what it smelled like to have that wellness back in, and holding the pure vibration, that pure sense in the 5 known senses. What are you seeing when you're feeling that well-being? What are you tasting? What are you hearing? What's being said? And when you get up from that meditation, your mind's eye and your body has a new conduction, new pathways of energy available to it in its subtle energy body that wasn't available before. And for you to hold that change and that vibration, you have to be different than when you sat down with that meditation. You've got to bring it into your daily practice. And so if like water has perfect memory, we know that through Dr. Emoto's work. If you're wanting well-being and you program in the feeling that it feels like, the taste that it tastes like, the smells, the sounds, before you program it into your water, then you take a sip of your water or you take a bite of your food, you program that into the water in your food. When you're eating, all of your food becomes healing. All of the water becomes healing. Then all of the electrical or outside components are drawn to you to help your body realize that level of wholeness, healedness. Everything's energy. And on my Facebook page, I have this We Are Energy. I have pictures of what Heart Math Institute does with how we wire ourselves, how our body is putting out, there's an aura, an energy all around us. We're an electrical field, we're a magnetic field, we're an elastic field, we're potential energy, we're kinetic, we're all these different forms of energy. So miracle makers, I mean, Mike, your story is extraordinary. People like you should not be walking or carrying heavy equipment like you do on the film sets, that the full range of movement. Our current science would say, oh my gosh, he should be not doing what you're doing. And yet, hysterical strength to get back into your body rather than leaving your body and going into the energy world again, leaving this world into the energy world. What else would you add to what I've shared?
Well, actually, people to get over PTSD, sometimes it's auditory. And what I didn't realize is the car accident was so loud. I was hit so hard. I don't know how many decibels it was. I know it was over 6 Gs of force, and that's deadly force.
Yes.
But I feel really terrible for all the victims of Las Vegas and all the other shootings, because when you hear bullets, I doubt those people will ever be able to watch fireworks in peace. Like, they'll never be able to enjoy it. It's too loud, and all the popping and it emulates gunfire. You know, so I really hope those people get the necessary help they need for their PTSD. That's what, 20,000 people or something?
That's
more than that.
Yeah, that was there.
Yeah, and beyond that, I mean, there's been a lot of shootings. But sound therapy, sound baths. There's also there's the neurotransmitter programming for the cilia in your ear.
I do hypnosis.
Yes.
Hypnosis is quite extraordinary. Repeated listening of a soothing sound, even layered in. So I have clients in Las Vegas, so they were there, and they were so they have been recovering, and they have been, and it's my heart is with them. So like when you
Thanks for helping.
Post-traumatic stress or post-traumatic soul disorder, and I'm going to get a little bit emotional possibly because my mom was pregnant with me, and she would share that there were bombs being dropped, and so I feel like part of me formulated in order to bring a peace vibration to the world so that our children don't have to experience gunfire or bombs being dropped. That we can shift that by what we're seeing in our mind's eye, what we're hearing, and hypnosis. We're under a mass hypnosis right now. That fear and these horrible things that are happening is generating more fear. And we can either create the energy of love and creation and growth, or this contracted energy of fear and being afraid and less creative and expressive and interdimensional. Tyler, baby, go ahead. I know you want to share something.
Because about the sound, I've heard that like just one loud sound can like make you deaf. Like just one loud like crack or just one thing can make you deaf.
160 decibels, approximately.
Yes.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
We're only born with that fear. We're only born with the fear of loud noises. We have a reflex to catch us from falling, but that one goes away. But the only real fear we have is decibels greater than our body can handle. And for you to have gone through that and to come out this other side.
My body had a flashback. Actually, I was home and a car jumped the curb and hit my building, took out a brick wall, took out a fence, hit the building, shook the building, and it was incredibly loud. My window was open. The next morning, I could barely move, and everything had tightened up in my sleep. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Set me back 2 weeks in my training, my progress. I had just gotten stem cell done in my Dr. Bashir did an amazing job of putting stem cells in my neck, my low back, and my shoulders. And actually, it was Charlie, his energy work. Actually, I got an MRI after. You didn't see this on the show, but I had 3 millimeter bulges that went down to 2 millimeters. After he released the PTSD from my neck and the pain, my muscle was able to relax more, hence the range of motion. But it also took compression off my spine that the muscles were still protecting.
So we're talking about Charlie Goldstein on the Healer on the Learning Channel, Goldsmith on the Learning Channel, and we're talking with Mike Anzabach and his amazing journey. You're listening to Miracle Makers on UBN Network. We're so glad you're with us, Miracle Makers. We're defining what energy medicine is. And what we've gotten so far is everything's energy. And sound. We're now talking so beautifully about sound. You, Miracle Maker, know the voice of your mom. Even when you come out of the uterus, you know the voice of the people that have been around you. When you come out, you know, and your body recognizes and organizes itself around coherent frequencies, and it disconnects around discoherent frequencies. You know every time someone's lying to you. If you are really tuned into your subtle energy, there is a difference in your body. And when people are speaking, you know you are a lie detector. Your body, your heart, and because sound, you're programmed to understand, hear, and experience frequency and sound. It's quite extraordinary. It's so beautiful how our body can, the places that we go to in Egypt, all of them, all of the temples, the great pyramids, all conduct sound. All of the ancient shamanic places in the world conduct sound for healing. And it's amazing when you study cymatics, when you study what happens to with sound. It's just a beautiful thing to watch when Bach is played, how material organizes itself. 428 hertz is played, how material organizes into sacred geometry. And so, Mike, I'd love for you to share a little bit more, because I know you're passionate about sound baths and sound.
Absolutely. Music is amazing therapy, and actually feeling live music, feeling bass waves go through you, it balances you, actually, and so do sound baths in terms of using the Doppler effect, left to right separation. And this is stuff that Led Zeppelin was doing in stereo in the 60s, the Beatles, you know, like they know about it. And actually, the Beatles' White Album, the Beatles studied with Maharishi in India. They learned meditation, transcendental meditation, actually, which David Lynch teaches. I worked on his documentary.
I love, I'm learning it from John Ratt.
Awesome.
So transcendental, and I've already learned it from another one mind, one giant mind. Anyway, it's so important. The two different frequencies in different ears syncs up your brain in between, and true musicians, true healers know how to generate that.
Yes, and the healing bowls with the sound. There's a lot of ancient techniques, even chimes, gongs. I highly recommend sound baths. It's a great meditation. It's an hour of your time. Like, do it on a full moon, or make a special occasion out of it. Do something productive to heal yourself. It's probably very overlooked in the medical community.
Yes.
And I never got a prescription for one, but I think a few of my healers would definitely do that.
Yeah.
Not covered under insurance, but hey, it's $20. Do it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Beautiful. Tyler?
Because, like, just that hum is, like, very, like, just like to have that constant It's nice to, like, because one of my, like, the music teacher at our school, his name's Christian, he, like, because on the piano, he's, like, gone through so much music, he like, knows the chords, so, like, he, like, holds down one chord, it's a lower chord, it'd be like, and that constant hum, and then he says, point at a chord from here to here, and then you'd point at one and be like, "Deh," and then you'd go like, "Deh," and then you'd press it, it'd be like, "Deh." It's really cool. But he has to do it with, like, a constant sound in the back.
What's amazing is Napoleon Hill's son was born without ears, and he knew you could conduct sound through bone. Our bones, your bones, Miracle Maker, conduct sound, and it's different from the way that your hear and the vestibular and the cilia, the hairs in your ears receive sound. And so bone conduction caused Napoleon Hill's son to be able to create a hearing device. And it's really, really extraordinary that we get to share all of these tools. Your massage chair, or that you built for your dad, is because out of love you generated this tool. This beautiful man's son, because of love. But the father would have music played, and he'd put his ear to the ground. The son would put his ear to the ground, or his head, the external part where his ear should be, to the ground, to be able to hear the sound conduction. And that's what created that. Baby, go ahead.
This one guy reviewed a product that was like glasses, like sunglasses, only at the end of them, like right here where they'd go down, sound came out, but it didn't go, it wasn't going in your ear. It was positioned right on a bone, so when the sound played, it just echoed through the bones in your brain.
And the ancient Egyptians knew, and a lot of the teachings around the world know, the difference between the fluid conduction and bone conduction, and they built these amazing chambers. There is a papyrus on my Facebook page. If you're listening to this on UBN Network or iTunes or iHeart, I highly recommend you go take a look at this picture, Miracle Makers, this papyrus. It's an image of a golden baby being suckled by his mom, being nursed. And this woman that is nursing this baby in gold, she's wearing a beautiful outfit. She's in a region, a reed, and held up or sitting on a platform. Around the platform are two men. The two men are holding, one of them is holding her. The other one is giving her energy through her nose. And behind each of those men are two other women that they show that they're energetically connected to. The golden baby is receiving milk from the mama. The mama is receiving support from these two men around her. Those two men energetically are receiving from women around them. Each of the people are clad in beautiful outfits, delightful colors, different from each other. Each of them, the mom, each of the men, each of the women behind the men, are demonstrating through ancient wisdom, the way that they painted everything, that they have these particular senses being used in this different way. The golden baby receiving from its mom is full potential and will receive its own instructions of all of the skill sets that it's here to make. It's a really beautiful papyrus, a really beautiful piece of art. And we are passionate about taking people back to Egypt so that they can turn on their own and learn and see all of this information for themselves. You've got more senses and more energy and more power and more healing than you've ever been led to believe. Miracle Maker, the only thing that you're wired to slow you down is sound. You have within you, and quite often when you're feeling fear, your body and your organs generate a sound of fear that can be measured and disconnects your fascia or your nerve cell conductive energy to each other. The way back to that world is through this golden baby. It's really fun to say it that way. You receive from all of the universe. You give yourself back like this baby does to its mama. You give yourself back to the energy world. That's the law of attraction. And you taste the love. You taste the healing. You taste it in your own senses that are available. You allow yourself to heal in those senses from the universe, from the energy, and all the men and women will come around to support you to activate your new senses, the new parts of you that are fully to come alive and be part of your world. It's a really an extraordinary journey if you don't have preconceived notions of what healing is, what medicine is, what energy is, and you really begin to connect yourself, your intuition, and yourself back to the universe, back to source. You can completely heal yourself with and invite in the doctors, the healers, the energy tools like a chair, a massage chair. You'll wind up watching the exact right show or being invited to a sound bath or to a dance class that will help move the liquid and the fluid in your body so that you're learning how to hear sound in your body. Anything you want to add, Mike?
Well, I also invented an exoskeleton, not just for myself, but for other camera operators to save their spine so that they don't get a degenerative condition. Every guy that I see that's in his 50s who does a lot of shoulder mount camera with a 40-pound camera, it's going to wear you down. It doesn't matter how big or tough you are. Like, I just figured that, why not prevent it? Why not prevent the pain and, painkillers, heavy drinking, things like that.
That's so beautiful, Mike. I want to make sure you let everyone know how to get in touch with you.
Okay. Actually, my charity is Selfie Mountain on Instagram, SELFIEMOUNTAIN, and that's the anti-text and drive campaign. And also Michael Ansbach on Facebook. Also, my Mike Ansbach one is full. So, yeah, I created a fan page. I wasn't expecting to have fans or 9,400 views on a video that Charlie posted of me with my progress. So, it's been quite a whirlwind. My life has changed so significantly in the last 5 months. Charlie was a huge factor. 2 days after that, I went back to shooting a union show. I did 2 seasons back to back, and I had put out in the universe that I wanted to do a documentary on stem cells, which is another great tool for reconditioning pretty much every organ in your body can be regrown with your own bone marrow. Whether it's cultivated or not, that's a whole other story. But Dr. Bashir did an incredible job with me and all his other patients, and he's probably he's kind of like, instead of getting cut open, it's just done with needles, like a 3-inch needle that's like just a little bit bigger than a human hair. It's like an insulin needle if you've seen anyone with diabetes. It's a little bit bigger, but he can bend it around your spinal cord into the facets. He can repair a torn ACL through the back of the knee, and you're up and walking out. Like you can get on a plane like not even, 10 minutes later.
So, Miracle Makers, we're going to post links to all of that on our YouTube channel. YouTube is Dr. Sarah Larson. The YouTube channel. If you're on UBN, we'll have links to that. Also on website, Dr. Sarah Larson. So you will have all of these resources. You'll have access to Mike and to all of this beautiful energy medicine as well. The Chinese shared thousands of years ago. We have stem cells, immortality cells in our hearts, but we can physically use the bone marrow material and these great tools that great doctors invent. You can also tap on your heart. You can tap into what you love, joy, bliss, that frequency to co-create with you your own stem cells circulating from your heart to the rest of your body. Extraordinary results. Miracle Makers, we love you, Mike. We're so glad you're here.
Love you guys. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome. So glad that you've been part of our world and that we met yesterday. I
definitely wanted to share, and thank you for giving me that opportunity. There's a lot of great information out there that I want to impart into other people to help them heal.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much. And so, Tyler, as anything you want to, and Mike, is there anything you want to leave the audience with before we move to Tyler?
I read a book called The Mental Athlete many years ago. I think it was published in the 80s, and it was given to me by a coach. And it's really, you've got to focus on you. You've got to heal yourself from within, and believe in it too. There is a higher power. There is a higher sense of consciousness. Sometimes very difficult getting over losing everything, but you have the power to rebuild, and your body has regenerative medicine built into it, in terms of nerve conduction, bone marrow, sound frequencies, and energy healing. So I hope more people tap into those resources because they're built into us.
They're built into us, the mental athlete. Thank you so much. Tyler, what would you share?
Well, another reason that I became vegan was because, it's quicker to heal yourself because, the plants have, with the meat, it has, acids and stuff in it, which can hurt your body. But I heard that when you become plant-based, you, heal faster and have more benefits.
I healed in a third the time from my shoulder surgeries. When they were reattached to the bone, I was able to heal in about 2 months and then have the other shoulder done. And 2 months, I could actually move it more freely than I was really shocked. And you're absolutely right.
And you were plant-based during that?
Yes, 100%.
Cool.
I dropped 7 pounds in 2 days, and I maintained it, and I built back the muscle, and everything was great. So the anti-inflammatory response to the plants, it's exactly what you need for healing, especially after surgery.
Especially after
very
surgery.
powerful.
And Miracle Makers, I am the miracle medium. I am an energy healer. I am a law of attraction expert. Please sign up for the newsletter. We want to give you tools and techniques and all of these resources that Mike, myself, Tyler, and Greg have been talking about. So that's at biochemistry.com. You can follow Mike's journey. Mike's going to be journeying with us. We'll keep you posted through those newsletters and on YouTube. Thank you so much.
The past is history, the future mystery. This moment is the gift.